So, if anybody can light a fire under Jalen Duren to become an all world defensive center, it's gotta be Team USA, right? Like playing on the Team USA select team. If there's ever been a time that his fire was gonna be lit, it's gotta be now. Y'all want to dive into that in this video. But before I do, first, this video is being brought to you by Bridges and Stones Family and Relationship Care. If you or someone you care for is struggling with their mental health or relationship, go to bridgesandstones.com and contact them for your free consultation today. One brave act today can create a better tomorrow. You know, it's a shame that we're in year three and we are still having to have this conversation with Jalen Duren about playing defense, but it makes sense if you watch the trajectory of his career coming to the Detroit Pistons as one of the youngest players in the NBA, right? He's extremely young, being in his third season, coming out of the University of Memphis, and he's coming to a very unstable franchise. He had Dwayne Casey, he had Troy Weaver, and then all of a sudden he's got Troy Weaver and Tom Gore, the owner, and then he's got Monty Williams as a coach. And then now Monty Williams is out. You got Trajan Langdon, and now you got JB Bickerstaff. Like he's at constant turnover. He's at constant disruption in his development when it comes to the organizational structure around him, the expectations, and even the team surrounding him. Right as a rookie, he had was it Boyan Bogdanovic. Um, he had Cade Cunningham for a quick blink. Then he had some other randos around him. And then the following year, he's got a whole new set of randos around him and a full season of Cade Cunningham, right? Isaiah Stewart here, there, expectations, new systems. And I keep really trying to explain this. The more coaching turnover you have, the more young players have to restart figuring out who they are in the NBA. And it really disrupts their ability to build on one season to the next. But this is still the NBA, and you either sink or swim, right? Cream rises to the top, and the NBA has very little room and patience for players who are figuring it out, except if you're a center, because centers are really hard to find for the NBA. So let's just start with that from the very beginning. Jalen Duren is a NBA worthy starting level center. And that is saying something because there's probably about 10 to 15 of them, right? 18 if you really want to stretch and look at guys twice, right? Can he legitimately start for an NBA team and not look like he's out of place? Not look like he is a weak link in that starting unit's chain, right? So when you look at a Jalen Duren, the fact that you can already check that box and answer that question has to be a feather in his cap. But most of that is due to the physical tools, to the skill, to the scoring ability, the rebounding, the soft hands, all the things that we love about him. That's really on one side of the court. But especially for Detroit Pistons fans, they understand that it's the other side of the court that gets you to that ring, that gets you to the promised land, that gets you to the big dance. And if the Detroit Pistons are going to get back into the playoffs, one, I don't think that it hinges upon what Jalen Duren does this upcoming season. I think Cade Cunningham is going to have a great offseason. He's going to come in phenomenal shape. I think he's going to come in bigger. He's coming in sharper. That handle will be, shored up. I think he's going to shoot the ball extremely well. I'm expecting a 25, 7-6 type of a season on really good efficiency. I think Jaden Ivey is going to have a hell of a year. I think he's going to knock down shots more regularly and playing off of Cade Cunningham now with a full season of experience and an X's and O's coach who's experimental, who will try new things and can really connect with them. And JB Bickerstaff, I think he is going to have another good year as well, alongside of Asar Thompson, all-world defender. JB Bickerstaff putting in a team system and creating a culture. I think all those things are going to bode well for the Detroit Pistons having a strong bounce back season. Now, does that mean playoffs? No. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I do think that they can have a 30 to 32, 35 win season, right? Knock on wood, if they're all healthy. But it's to say that Jalen Duren is I would say, would be the catalyst for them taking that step from being an upstart team to a team that you can legitimately say, oh, that's a playoff team. That's a team that is built for the playoffs, and I can see them coming. Because if Jalen Duren cannot figure out the defensive end, they're going to have to figure out how to either insulate him with somebody at that power forward position who can cover for him, somebody like an Aaron Gordon, how he does for Nikola Jokic, or they're going to have to replace him. And to do so, I think is going to shift that trajectory in terms of their readiness to get back into the playoffs. But if there is one place that can light that fire in Jalen Duren, it has to be playing for Team USA on that select team. Because around him, he has nothing but defensive minded centers. He's got Anthony Davis. He's got Joel Embiid. He's got Trace Jackson Davis. He's got a bunch of Hall of Famers, LeBron James. He's got Kawhi Leonard. He's got Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Stephen Curry. He's got all these guys, Bam Adebayo, I forgot to mention him, who are all dedicated to that defensive end of the court, especially when it comes to Team USA. Say what you want about LeBron James and a 82-game regular season at this point in his career, turning 40 years old. Yeah, he's not giving you all-world defense for 82 games throughout a regular season. Kawhi Leonard's not giving you all-world defense for 82 games. But for Team USA, in a tournament setting, playing for gold in Paris, France, in front of the world, oh yeah, you're going to get their defense. You're going to get their all-world defense because they got guys like Jason Tatum to insulate them, and they've got all these other guys who can be able to play on the perimeter, back them up, going to communicate well with them, and also hold them accountable. And it's something that they're going to want is to be held accountable. And that's probably one of the biggest, I think, shifts that has to take place within Jalen Duren is inviting the criticism, inviting the accountability, inviting being coached and taught and supported with and putting in the extra work in film sessions and learning to memorize certain setups and plays and how they're going to defend handoffs, all these different things he needs to invite into his life as a player, saying, I know and I recognize I need to get better here, and I'm here for it. If Team USA can't light that fire in him to do so, I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to have to be 5-6 years down the road, and maybe another team is going to be able to light that fire under him. Maybe he's going to end up like Andre Drummond, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because he was, 10 years as a legitimate NBA center. You just didn't want to be paying him as if he's your number one option, right? That was not the position you wanted him in. But it's to say that, hey, if that's what Jalen Duren becomes for the next 10 years, he's a starting level center who just happens to not play very good defense. Okay, that's what it is. But it's going to limit the outlook for the Detroit Pistons. And I think it's something that they have to overemphasize with him in this coming year. No matter what happens with Team USA select team, by the end of the summer, the moment he gets into camp, JB Bickerstaff has to look him in the eyes and say, I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to hold you accountable to play defense. In fact, we're going to have Isaiah Stewart behind you. And Isaiah Stewart plays defense. Not only does he play defense, he's able to quarterback our defense. He defends the rim. He rebounds. He shows on those pick and rolls. He moves his feet as best as he can. He gives a great effort defending on the perimeter. And he's still able to get back under the rim without picking up silly fouls. And if that's who you have behind you, who's still early in his career and looking to make a name for himself and probably is going to be pissed off that he's no longer starting, I think that's the type of energy you want behind a Jalen Duren. Somebody who you can legitimately say, like, hey, after Duren gives us those first 4 or 5 minutes of a quarter, if he's not locked in defensively, go ahead and bring in Isaiah Stewart in, because we can get away with Isaiah Stewart playing 25 to 32 minutes, which I completely think that they can. And so if Duren is not going to take that starting role and demand he gets the lion's share of those minutes and show that he's ready for it, I think Isaiah Stewart will. But I have to say that I am optimistic. I'm optimistic that on Team USA, Jalen Duren is going to be forced to step into a culture and environment of accountability. He's going to be surrounded by a bunch of brothers who are able to actually encourage him, inspire him, and also pull greatness out of him. You saw the highlights recently on YouTube. He was able to get to the rim. He was able to attack a closeout. He was able to score in the post. Really good post move footwork and finishing with against Anthony Davis. Right, I wouldn't mind seeing him against Joel Embiid a little bit more, but it's to say that he showed he belongs there. But there's another side of things, which didn't look so good as he picked up a foul trying to guard a guy off of a perimeter attack, right? And so that's what you're hoping that this environment instills in him. But as always, I want to know what you all think. Do you think that Jalen Duren is going to be able to flip that switch and finally lock in? Or do you think what he's been is who he's been on the defensive end? But as always, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, share this video in your group chats with your homies, and then get back at me in the comment section, and I'm going to get at y'all there. Peace.